On today's episode, we are going to take a look at Intel. The stock price is up after the CEO just released a new plan. Is Intel back to being the leader in the semiconductor industry? Let's find out. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and follow me on Twitch where I live stream, taking a look at stocks you want me to look at. So let's get started. I want to thank the Motley for sponsoring this video. The Motley is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You guys know I love finding new investing tools and resources to help me scout out new growth stocks. And right now I have a discount for one of my favorite services the Fool offers. Through the Motley Stock Advisor service, you get access to a ton of expert stock picks. Every month you'll get 2 picks that are aimed at growing your wealth and to help you realize your financial goals. Stock Advisor's average stock picks have done some crazy returns. If growing your money is something you'd like to do more of this year, you can visit thefool.com/Jose Najarro or click on the link below for access to my special offer and decide if the stock advisor is right for you. Thanks again to the Motley Fool, and now back to today's episode. Alright, so first let's take a look at price movement. Intel right now is traded under the NASDAQ as ticker INTC. We can see pre-market the stock is up 3.7%. It is currently sitting at around $65.86. That is still not its all-time highs. The all-time highs for the company were around $68.50. I wonder if we're going to break out of that this time. All right, so now let's take a look at the main reason the stock price has moved. First, Intel CEO, he did a press yesterday on Tuesday, and he mentioned that Intel has a $20 billion investment plan to build 2 new chip factories in United States in Arizona. Production there is expected to start on 2024. So why are these 2 new factories very important? Well, that's the new plan, or should I say the old plan. So many people know Intel nowadays as the producer or the designer of CPUs, right? But Intel also used to do other stuff back in the day. Outside of designing its own chips, it also manufactures its own chips. It also used to manufacture chips for other companies, but that ended up that stopped a while ago. Intel is trying to go back to its roots, and this type of plans are going to be used to both manufacture their own chips and also manufacture chips from other companies. And the company is also in renewing efforts to make chips for other targeting customers such as Apple and rival Qualcomm. And that's actually pretty funny, right? So Intel used to design chips for Apple. Apple was like, nah, we're going to start making our own chips, and started leaving. Now, Intel, instead of winning back that contract for assignment, they're hoping to win that contract for manufacturing the chips for Apple. And that's a pretty smart move, in my opinion. So a lot of people are very excited about this because, especially like the United States government, right? The United States chip industry has moved outside of United States and shifted its production into Asia. Right now, only 12% of the global semiconductor is manufactured in the United States. That's down from like 37% in 1990. So we can see a long time ago, United States was making a huge amount of chips. With this new renewal, I want to say renewal because it used to be an old plan of theirs, of producing chips, they're going to reopen Intel Foundry Services, which is going to be the chip production activities here in the United States and also in Europe. And that's going to be run by industry veteran Rahir Thakur. So one thing I found pretty interesting about this press conference is there was a bit of backing by some big boys or some big players in the industry. For example, Amazon, Cisco, Qualcomm, and Microsoft are all supporting this effort of chip manufacturing services that Intel would bring to the United States. So Intel also took the time to give us a new guidance for Q1, and they upped their revenues, they upped their earnings per share compared to their prior guidance, and this is due to a strong notebook demand that is still happening here, especially in the United States. So that's another main reason the stock is up. So now let's take a look at some people that might not like this news. So right now, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, which is ticker TSM in the New York Stock Exchange, is down about 1.8% while I'm recording this video. And it seemed to take a nice about 2% drop earlier on when it heard the news. And why did this stock take a drop? For those that are not familiar with Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, they do what pretty much Intel is trying to do right now. They manufacture the chips for these big companies. Some of their customers are Apple or Qualcomm. the customers that guess who is trying to take? Intel. So it's not all bad news for TSM. First, TSM has announced a similar plan in May to build its own 12 billion factory in Arizona. I wonder why all these chip industries are going to Arizona. Maybe some of you guys can share. Maybe I should move down to Arizona and get a job for one of these industries, for one of these giants. And why is it important to build here in the United States opposed to other countries? The first thing is the government contracts, right? For you to work for big industries and for like defense contracting companies like Lockheed, General Dynamics, maybe like Boeing, that deal with national security, you need to produce your products here in the United States. So obviously the United States government gets happy when productions is being made here, and then allows for new contracts for companies like this. So I think that's definitely a big deal, and it's definitely going to help boost up the overall technological advancement here in the United States. The second reason I don't think it's such a bad thing is Intel right now is not doing that well in producing its own chips, right? It's been having issues with the 10 nanometers, and it still hasn't even started the 7 nanometers. Even though the CEO mentions that there are some advancement in the 7 nanometer CPUs in the Q2 of 2021, still nowhere near fabrication, but it is seeing improvements there. So Intel right now has that, hey, if you can't even produce your chips well, why are some other big industries gonna produce, go to you to produce their chips? And that answer is actually kind of simple, because right now, the way to make chips is pretty much a Lego building block. So Intel, what it's trying to do right now is trying to still partner up with TSM and Samsung, which are two of the major chip producers. And since these semiconductors are form of a Lego brick where you can build stacks and stacks over each other, whatever part Intel can't make will outsource to some of their competitors like TSM and like Samsung. So again, I don't think it's completely bad news for big companies like TSM or for Samsung. Obviously, an increasement in threat here kind of reduces the risk. But the overall amount of chips that are needed for the future, I mean, every piece of technology that we're running right now, or every piece of technology that we're seeing huge growth, from the EV vehicle market to blockchain industry to artificial intelligence, is gonna need some form of chip. So yes, right now it seems like Intel entering this department is gonna like tighten up revenue from these other companies, but it's not like the market share is a definite size. That market share continues to grow and grow. So all these big players can also grow with the industry. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think about this semiconductor drama that's happening right now, and do you believe that Intel is gonna be the leader? If this is your first time here, like always, make sure to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Take care, guys. Have a good night, and see you next time.